Mark McCann paid £900,000 for a Bugatti Veyron that arrived in 2 pieces. Gearbox shattered, transmission shipped to Holland, a replacement being sourced from a man in Spain who bought it from someone in Australia who was building one car from 2 wrecked ones. Matt Armstrong paid less. Exactly how much less hasn't been confirmed publicly, but the gap is meaningful. Got a complete car, rolled it into his workshop on a Monday, found the gearbox fault before the day was out, and fixed it with a fuse from Halfords. Same dream, same brand, same country, same year. Completely different results. And the question everyone watching both channels is asking, in the comments, in the community posts, in the replies to Mark's own comment on Matt's video, is the one nobody has actually sat down and answered properly. Who made the better decision? Not who got luckier. Not who spent less. Not whose car looks better in the thumbnail. Who made the better decision? Stay with me, because by the end of this video the answer is going to be more complicated than you think, and it's going to tell you something important, not just about Bugattis, but about how you approach a high-stakes decision when the information is incomplete, the manufacturer won't help, and everyone around you thinks you've lost your mind. Before the comparison, you need to understand what both men were actually buying. The Bugatti Veyron is one of 450 built between 2005 and 2011. Not designed to capture a market segment or start a model range. Built to answer a single question: can we build a road car with 1,000 horsepower, 16 cylinders, 8 liters, 4 turbochargers, and a top speed of 253 miles per hour? It was the first production road car in history to achieve 1,000 horsepower. A car you could buy from a dealer, insure, register, and drive to the shops. Today, working examples sell for over £1.5 million when you can find one. Mark found one. A silver Veyron with a shattered gearbox. The transmission housing cracked in 2 places, the car separated at the chassis joint. The gearbox was shipped to Holland for specialist pressure testing, a replacement being sourced from Spain. Mark paid approximately £900,000 for a car in that condition. Matt found his through a repossession company. Number 34 of 450, originally built for Dubai with reportedly better cooling for the heat. White wrap over a 2-tone blue original paint. Interior in remarkable condition for a 20-year-old car. Engine running. Gearbox refusing to leave park. History completely unknown. All Matt received with the car was the keys. Same car. Different stories. Different prices. Different problems. Let's start with Mark, because Mark's decision is the one that looks worse right now, and it deserves to be understood properly before it's judged. Mark paid £900,000 for a Veyron in 2 pieces. On the surface, that sounds like the worst deal in the history of YouTube car purchases. But here's what Mark actually knew when he made it. He knew the damage was mechanical, visible, documented, and specific. A cracked gearbox housing is a known problem with a known solution. You find a replacement unit, have it pressure tested, source the components, rebuild. The path to completion is long and expensive, but it's clear. There are no hidden surprises in a cracked gearbox. You can see exactly what's wrong, and you can plan what it will cost to fix it. Mark also knew more about Veyrons than almost any other buyer at that price point. He understood that a cracked gearbox housing doesn't mean the engine is damaged, the monocoque is compromised, or the electrical systems are failing. It means the gearbox housing is cracked. Expensive but solvable. And £900,000 needs to be understood in context. A working Veyron in comparable specification sells for over £1.5 million. If the gearbox rebuild comes in at around £150,000, which independent specialists suggest is achievable, Mark has paid roughly £1 million total for a car worth £1.5 million. That's not a reckless decision. That's a calculated risk made by someone who understood exactly what the risk was and had the knowledge to manage it. The comments laughing at Mark right now are comparing the results of 2 decisions without comparing the information available when each decision was made. Mark knew what he was buying. He paid accordingly. Now Matt, and this is where the comparison gets genuinely uncomfortable, because the story of Matt's Veyron is not the story of a brilliant buy. It's the story of a remarkable early result from a purchase that is still revealing what it actually contains. Matt paid less than Mark for a complete Veyron with a running engine and completely unknown history. That last part, unknown history, is the most important thing about this purchase. More important than the price. More important than the fuse. All Matt received with the car was the keys. No service records. No ownership history. No documentation of previous repairs. No explanation of why the finance was defaulted on. And that unknown history had already left its mark before Matt ever opened the door. Someone, at some point in this car's past, looked at a blown fuse in the gearbox pump circuit and made a decision. Instead of diagnosing why the fuse was blowing, they fitted a larger one. When that blew, they fitted a larger one still. They kept going until they found a rating that would hold, eventually landing on 40 amps in a slot designed for considerably less. That decision generates sustained heat in the fuse housing. Not the clean, fast heat of a proper blow, but the slow, creeping heat of a circuit running at the edge of its capacity, plastic softening, housing distorting, adjacent fuses damaged by conducted heat, the fuse box beginning to fail from the inside. Matt got lucky. He got lucky because whoever fitted that 40 amp fuse hadn't driven the car hard enough, or long enough, to turn a quietly failing fuse box into something catastrophic. The car was repossessed before it burned. But here's the question nobody in the comments celebrating Matt's Halford's receipt has asked. Why was the fuse blowing in the first place? Fuses don't blow by themselves. They blow because something on the circuit is drawing more current than it's rated for. A failing pump motor, a wiring harness short, a pressure leak keeping the pump running longer than it should. Something caused the original fuse to blow. Something caused every replacement to blow. And that something has not been found yet. The misfire is still there. The secondary air pumps aren't priming correctly on ignition. There's a coolant leak from a radiator that's been topped up with water rather than coolant. The fuse box has taken heat damage and may need complete replacement. And somewhere in the wiring of a 20-year-old hypercar driven by an owner who eventually stopped paying the finance and let it get repossessed, possibly more. Matt's Veyron went into gear on a Monday afternoon. That's extraordinary. But the unknown history of this car is still being written, one video at a time. Now let's put both decisions side by side, properly. Not the results. The decisions. When Mark paid £900,000, he knew exactly what was wrong. The unknowns he faced were unknowns of execution, parts availability, repair timeline, specialist access. You can plan for those. When Matt paid less, he was buying a car whose problems were invisible. The fuse was hidden in a wheel arch. The tampered rating was buried in a fuse box under the seat. The full history, who drove this car, how hard, and what they did to keep it running when things started going wrong, was nowhere. These are unknowns of discovery. Problems that reveal themselves over time. Problems you cannot plan for, price, or put a ceiling on. Mark paid a premium for known damage. Matt paid a discount for unknown damage. In risk terms, known damage is almost always preferable at comparable price points, because you can price it. Unknown damage is a liability with no ceiling. There's one more thing the comments have missed. When both cars are finished, Mark's will be worth more than Matt's. Not because it's a better car, but because provenance matters in the hypercar market. A Veyron with a documented independent rebuild, clear history of what went wrong, what was done, by whom, is a car a future buyer can understand. A Veyron with a repossession history, a tampered fuse box, a previous owner who fitted wrong-rated electrical components, and a misfire that took weeks to diagnose is a car that raises questions. And at £1.5 million, buyers pay for the car that doesn't raise questions. That said, Matt isn't buying this car to sell it. He wants to drive it to Monaco this summer. In that context, the financial analysis is largely irrelevant. He paid less, he got a running car, and he has a goal. The problems are real, but they're manageable. And the fuse, while not the end of the story, was a beginning almost nobody expected. So who made the better decision? Here's the honest answer. They made different decisions, for different reasons, with different information, toward different goals, and both of them were rational. Mark is a buyer who needs to understand everything. He paid for certainty of problem because certainty of problem can be planned for. When his Veyron is finished, he'll know that car in a way almost no other owner in the world does. Every component considered, every repair documented, the story clean and complete. Matt is a buyer who thrives in uncertainty. He's built his entire career, from a Golf GTI in a driveway to a Bugatti in a Leicester workshop, on turning unknown risks into remarkable outcomes. The fuse wasn't only luck. It was the product of a methodology. Follow the fault, check the basics. Don't assume the expensive answer is the right one. What neither of them did, and this matters, is what most people would have done. Most people confronted with a 900,000-pound broken Bugatti or a repossessed hypercar with no history would have walked away. The risk is too great. The knowledge required is too specialized. The manufacturer won't sell parts. The problems are too many and too uncertain. Mark and Matt both looked at cars everyone else walked away from and asked a different question. Not, is this too difficult? But what is the actual problem and can I solve it? That question, asked consistently, filmed transparently, shared with millions of people every week, is why both channels grow regardless of what the cars are doing. Mark's Veyron is in Holland. The gearbox is being pressure tested. The path is long and the bill will be significant, but the outcome isn't in doubt. Matt's Veyron is in Leicester with a working gearbox, a persistent misfire, a damaged fuse box, and a coolant system topped up with water. The outcome isn't in doubt either, but the journey is going to produce more surprises before it's over. Two Bugattis, two decisions, two completely different paths to the same destination. And together, in the same year, in the same country, with the same manufacturer refusing to help, they've proved something Bugatti spent decades trying to prevent anyone from proving. The knowledge required to work on these cars was never exclusive. It was just protected by withholding documentation, refusing parts, and quoting figures that made independent work look impossible. One found the fault with a diagnostic tool and a torch pointed at a fuse box in a wheel arch. The other found it by splitting the car in half and seeing what fell out. Different methods. Same conclusion. These cars are fixable, without Bugatti's permission.